Today, I mentioned before that we've had several pieces of legislation that has traveled through the system. Everyone was able to speak on it. Everyone's district's voice that wanted to speak was heard today. In a week ago, that stopped. This is just not about one specific instance or one specific rule that may be broken. The rules here are for order. We owe that to the constituents that we represent across this state. And when it says to us, and I'll leave you with this, a couple more questions. With that, knowing that the House could not do business when you entered the well and you were gavelled out of order, and you continue to stay in the well, you placed a bullhorn out of your own jacket, as you said earlier. Those actions, the Speaker had no choice but to recess, because then the emotion in this place exploded. So with all of that conduct by you, by overtaking the well against the rules of this House that we are bound to do under Article 2, Section 12 of the Tennessee Constitution. That's the site that says we must have rules for this House so we can achieve what we achieved today by passed legislation today in an orderly fashion. I ask you this simple question. Were your actions last week as you define them, were they disorderly and disruptive to this House chamber?
Representative Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I had to take notes because I believe there's about 10 questions in Representative Garrett's comments. I want to begin with the first one, the first statement made. Today, every member was allowed to speak. Today, he had to make that clear that today every member was allowed to speak because the news is here today. But let's talk about yesterday. Let's talk about last week. He said that stopped last week. No, it stopped when Speaker Cameron Sexton was sworn in as House Speaker, that every voice was allowed to be heard. This happened when Cassida was here. And so for many years in this body, every member has been stopped from speaking by a supermajority that is drunk with power. He stated, you overtook the well trying to use language that harkens violence. No, we walked into the well. We walked together. Children, don't you get weary. We walked to the well. We didn't overtake anything. We did not use violence. We did not act in ways that were unlawful. We walked together peacefully and orderly to the well that many of us had been not afforded the opportunity to speak from. You said, was your actions disorderly and disruptive? I think the honest answer is that I believe that my presence here as one of the youngest black lawmakers who speaks for my district is disruptive to the status quo. I believe that's what is disruptive, that when I'm in committee and you seek to pass agendas that harm my community, I say objection, point of order, I don't agree, my constituents deserve a voice. That is disruptive and to the status quo, because you would have us bow down. But Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego said, we shall not bow. And that is what I say to you, Representative Garrett, that we shall not bow. That is what I say to the House Speaker, that we shall not bow. Because what is disorderly is a body that has used voter suppression and rigged maps to take control of our state. What is disorderly is a body that silenced the voices of Nashville at the congressional level, at the city council level, now trying to remove us at the legislative level. That is disorderly to democracy. That is disruptive to what we have an obligation to uphold. And so that is my response.